That's not realistic to be 100% throughout the season. Yes and no. You have some guys that the way that they take care of their bodies, not only at the beginning of the season, but also at the end of the season, this is how they're able to let that talent go. Now, granted, at the end of the season, we all hope that we have guys coming in at 100%. Okay, we can hope, but you know what? At that point, if you have guys that are playing at a high level from start to finish, that's what you want. The biggest problem is that this team has exhausted its defense over the past decade. Their defense has spent an average of 65 to 70% of their time on the field. The offense has been non-existent, and we've lost football games because of that. So all of that has to change. You can blame it on talent, you can blame it on coaching, you can blame it on whatever you want. But at the end of the day, there's still a price that has to be paid. So with the free agency, guys that are going to be shipped out the door and guys that are going to be coming in, they're going to be subject to a whole new regime. They're going to be subject to a whole new set of rules. Okay, because if you're going to be a New York Jet means you're going to give 110% and it's all gas, no break. If not, there's the door. Don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. Because that's the mentality that has to be there. And we as Jet fans, I know it's difficult for us to accept because we've been lied to. We've been told, hey, things are going to get better. The culture is going to get better. We've had this guy promises things. That guy promises things. The other guy promises things. You want to know the one thing that Joe Douglas is not promising? Joe Douglas is not sitting here going out there week after week after week highlighting his plan about we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do the other thing. Joe Douglas is saying as little as possible and letting his actions speak for himself. Mm-hmm. And that's something we've never had here. The last time we had somebody actually do that was Bill Parcells. So am I saying that Joe Douglas is Bill Parcells? No. But can I say, but is it possible for us to go back to that? Is it possible for us to go back to those days? Yes, it's very possible. But we got to let these guys do their work. And no matter who we like, who we don't like, what we don't like, or whatever, as fans, sit there and enjoy the ride. Because you know what? We're at the bottom of the barrel. We can't get any lower. Okay? The only way to go is up.
We're not the bottom anymore. Houston is. And to your point about, yes, injuries happen, Lowell. Injuries happen. But we now have a staff that understands how the human body works as opposed to previous years. And real talk, when you minimize those just nonsense nagging strains and sprains and pulls, when you know how to prepare for that stuff, you're talking about 10 to 15 starters that are starting more than they did the last 2 years. That's the issue. And that's the benefit.
Yeah. No, I'm with you guys. And that's such a big thing. We were saying it before with injury. It's so important. We saw it last year with guys like, Becton. Mims obviously had his hamstring pulls, he had both of his hamstrings, which happens a lot with rookies. Rookies tend to get hurt, but we need them to stay healthy. We need them, to translate that because the NFL is a totally different pace. It's a very active game. It's rare to be 100%. It is. But when it comes down to it, like you said before, with good training, good practice, and just intelligence, just actual intelligence. Because we said it before with Mekhi Becton. When they asked Gase, why'd you put Mekhi Becton in? What did he say? Well, he wanted to go back in the game. Of course he wanted to go back in the game. We saw guys throughout, like back in the 70s and 80s, they get blasted, they get knocked out, they have a concussion, they don't know which way is up, but they're walking into the huddle. They'll take the snap. If you let them, they'll play until their heads pop off. The player can't make that decision. What do you mean Becton wanted to go back in? Of course he wanted to go back in. You have to be the adult in the room that says, no, you can't go back in because of these reasons, because he will go back in. That was insanity. Same thing with Sam. And the year before that, you mentioned these problems keep going on. What about Kelechi Osemele? Osemele was one of the best linemen in the league, had such a falling out with the Jets where literally he's suing them for money. We find out it's because he told them that he was hurt and they told him he wasn't. And he's like, wait, but I'm me, and this body is mine.
Right.
Well,
that was a Gase decision.
I'm hurt.
That was a Gase decision, Harrison. That had nothing to do with the Jets medical staff because the Jets medical staff advised Adam Gase to sit him out, and they were already 3 linemen down, and he chose to throw Kelechi Osemele back into the lineup. The same way that he chose to throw Becton back into the lineup. Okay, so
he just wants to win. He's saving his job. He doesn't care about our future. He doesn't care about Becton, who was literally drafted to be our staple. He's supposed to be our next to Brickashaw Ferguson.